And well, hey everybody, if you're watching the replay of this, it's 420 on 420, so happy 420. 420 is, what is 420, right? I actually recorded a podcast episode about this today, or last week, about today, because it's kind of like, what the heck is this? Before I was in the cannabis world, I was always like, I don't even understand what they're talking about. Like, that makes zero sense to me. But 420 is simply a celebration of the day. It's a day where we just appreciate the plant. Use the plant, use it with intention, celebrate it, enjoy it. I do believe that it's one of nature's gifts for us, to help heal us. That's what it's here for, and that's what it does. And I think the more we can appreciate that, the better everyone will be, and the more that everyone can see how much it does help. So that's why we're here. That's why it's 420. It's always fun just to take a minute on 420 to celebrate. And it's kind of fun because it's becoming a little more mainstream. Hey there. Hey, welcome. Just jumping on, just saying hi. We're just talking about what 420 is and why it's important. And I was saying that I love it because it's just a chance for us to celebrate why we love the plant, right? And what's fun is that everybody loves the plant for different reasons. And that's totally cool because I think nature put the plant on earth to be for us. I really do believe this is like nature's medicine. And everybody gets something different out of it, slightly different. And that makes it unique to each person. It makes it special to the person. And it can range from, there's people who it's like reversing cancer on people. Like there's some crazy, incredible medical things that are happening at the same time as there are some of us who use it for anxiety and just to get through the day-to-day because that's difficult. And sometimes it's just purely recreation. And that's awesome too because, again, what is life if we can't enjoy it a little bit? And it certainly is a lot safer. Hey, thanks for dropping in. It certainly is a lot safer than alcohol, right? So even if you're just celebrating it because you love the way you feel, that's awesome too. I love that 420 is for everybody, whether it's purely medicinal, whether it's somewhere in between, or whether it's purely recreational. Hey, girl. So we're here to talk about the Munchie Myth, right? This is my passion. My absolute passion is to tell the world the myth about the Munchies. And the myth about the Munchies is that the Munchies make you overeat, right? I hear this all the time. I was at a dispensary over the weekend for their 420 party. It was kind of a grand opening. And I have all these conversations with, hey, thanks for jumping on. I have all these conversations with their customers, and they're all, because I bring my fitness stuff. We do Move It for Munchies where I make people squat or plank or balance. And then, gets people talking about their fitness and what they do for their fitness. And then they start telling me, oh, but the Munchies, or one woman was like, I've lost so much weight, but the Munchies. And I always hear that phrase followed by their frustration that the Munchies are making them eat too much or eat when they don't want to, right? And the myth is that the Munchies cause overeating. And the truth is that that's not at all what the Munchies are. The Munchies are think of it as a sensory thing. You have heightened sensations, and if you use cannabis, you know that especially when you're high, you get heightened sensations like all over the place. I tell this story in one of my podcast episodes, but when I first came to cannabis, I would notice weird things like I could feel my arm. Like I'd be like, why can I feel my arm so much, right? You get heightened sensations. So one of the heightened sensations that you can get is appetite, right? And I know that's not what you want to hear because you're thinking, oh no, that's not what we want. Okay, but hear me out, right? Just because you have the desire for food doesn't mean you have to eat the food. And it certainly doesn't mean that you have to eat all of the food, right? And that's the part that I teach. So there's 3 big reasons why you overeat. that don't have anything to do with cannabis, right? So regardless of whether you're using cannabis or not, we overeat because we didn't eat enough. We overeat at night, I should say. We overeat at night because we didn't eat enough during the day, right? Your body is catching up. Your body is expecting a certain amount of food per day because it needs fuel. It's like your car. Your car has a tank. It needs a tank of gas to get to where you're going, right? Your body needs a certain amount of fuel just to do its daily things, right? Breathing, digestion, all of those things. So if your body doesn't get enough food by the time you've hit nighttime, which is when most people sit down and usually, consume their cannabis, then your body goes right into catch-up mode. And that's why you are overeating, is because your body sees food and thinks, oh my gosh, now we can have this food we've been missing all day and we can catch up on that. So it triggers cravings and it makes it hard to stop, right? So that's one of the reasons that you can be overeating. The second reason is not using the skill of what I call pausing. It's just a pause. And you may have seen this around. It's definitely making a wave on social media where everyone's talking about slowing down, pausing, taking a breath, really taking that step. There is a moment between when you have a thought of craving and when you actually act on it, right? There's a moment in there. And a lot of us don't. I never knew to take that. Like, I grew up not even understanding that was a moment. And now I know. And that's how I stopped overeating, as I started to learn that moment. And what's cool is that cannabis can actually help you enhance that moment, because it does slow you down. So once you know that moment's there, you can really start to practice and take advantage of that. And it's just a skill. It's learning a skill, like playing the piano. You don't sit down and you're not Mozart the first day, but you get better and you practice and you practice. The good thing is that you get to practice eating like multiple times a day. So you get plenty of practice. And then over time, a couple weeks, a couple months, you get really good at it. And you start to really see how you're eating less because you just took advantage of that moment. Now here's the third one that doesn't get a lot of airtime. I try to talk about it a lot, and I think it's really important for cannabis users to know, because a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is just basic behavioral science, and and it could be applied to anyone, non-cannabis users or not. But here's what you need to know about cannabis specifically, is that cannabis, there's more than just THC in the cannabis plant itself. It actually grows, and when it grows without being, when they focused on it, they bred it, when they breed the plants now to be specific cannabinoids. But if you weren't, the plant itself has THC, but it also has other cannabinoids. CBD is a big one, which you've probably heard of. There's what they call minor cannabinoids, CBG, there's CBC, and there is THCV, all right? So the way THC works in the body, it is going to be the most sensory enhancing. It is going to be the most where you're going to get the most appetite sensation. Again, especially if you didn't eat during the day, right? See how that works? How if you didn't eat enough during the day, your senses are going to be enhanced, and that's going to trigger overeating because you're hungry. So your body's like lighting up because it's hungry. So the other cannabinoids, like CBD, now CBD is the non-intoxicating part. Same plant, just different part. You can break down the plant, and that's why they breed them. And so you can break down the plant in different parts. THC makes you high, sensory enhancement. CBD does not make you high, does not have sensory enhancement. And actually the studies right now, again, we need more research. This is why we need a schedule change. But the research we have so far, and a lot of it comes out of other countries, is saying that CBD actually suppresses appetite. It completely turns off the signal to that whole area of your brain. So CBD does the opposite in this respect of THC. So what you can do, and what you'll find too, if you use gummies, especially, I see this a lot in gummies or tinctures. there are products that have both THC and CBD in it. Again, that's the original plant, has both. So they work together really, really well, but in certain ways, they actually work opposite of each other, right? And it's complementing. So you can use THC, add CBD, and it completely counterbalances that whole sensory option there. So now you don't have increased appetite. You put increased appetite with decreased appetite, and now you're just neutral, right? So a simple approach for cannabis users, what I'm saying is, especially if you like gummies and tinctures, find a product that's got both. Find a product that's got CBD and THC in it. If you're using a balanced product, they come in, you may have noticed, they come in ratios. So it'll say like CBD to THC 1, dot 1, right? Or 2, dot 1. That's the ratio of how much of each cannabinoid is in that product. So if you're looking at a balanced product, like a 1-to-1, then there should be no appetite stimulation at all. There should be very little munchies because that should completely balance each other out. So an easy solution, what I'm saying, is that you can add CBD. You can add CBG. That's another one. Now THCV, V for Victor, V for Victor. THCV is another minor cannabinoid, and it's confusing because I know it has THC in it, but it's got that V for Victor, so that makes it's a different molecule, so that is non-intoxicating also. Again, it's confusing because it says THC, but it's got a V on it, so that means it's non-intoxicating. So it won't make you high, but it's going to act like the CBD. It's going to counterbalance any appetite stimulation, sensory enhancement that you got from the THC in that respect. And it's going to, studies right now are showing that it's suppressing appetite in people. So this is all good. We need more research. Other countries are doing it, but this is what we're finding, which is why when you shop, you'll see products with THCV in it. And you may have even been like, what the heck is this? But I used to be terrified of them until I understood this. I would always shop, if I were you, I would shop for products that have both THC and either CBD or THCV. It says pause, bad connection. Okay, well hopefully I didn't lose anybody. But anyway, so that's the Munchie Myth. The Munchie Myth is that it makes you overeat. The reality is it doesn't make you overeat. It can make food more appealing. It's not making you order the pizza. And that's kind of my tagline. What questions do you have? Because I really wanted to get in. I really wanted to come on and talk live about it and then see what questions you have. So if you want to just chat any questions, that would be amazing. I'm going to keep talking, and as your questions come up, I will just answer them, and we'll go from there. So yeah, feel free to jump if you have any questions. If you don't, and you're like, okay, that explains it, then good. That's fine too, right? That's fine too. So again, if you just hopped on, we are talking about the myth of the munchies, which is that the munchies make you overeat, and they do not make you overeat. That is a problem that's usually fueled by not eating enough during the day, right? Our body's trying to catch up. Hi, welcome. We're just talking about the munchies. So the myth of the munchies is that it makes you overeat, right? And it does not make you overeat. The munchies are a sensory enhancement, so it can make food more appealing, but it's not making you order the pizza, right? It's not making you finish the bag of chips. It's not making you eat way more Chinese food than you wanted. I actually saw there was on Instagram, the local newspaper was showing specials from local restaurants. And I laughed, but also I don't like it because the specials at the restaurants, and I can't remember what they were local, but they were all was kind of like a buy one pizza, get one free, or, like get a 3-pack of, big burritos. And, I think KFC had one. And I'm like, just so you know, you don't have to eat junk food when you're high. Like, you can choose other things. The Munchies don't make you choose junk food, right? That's still your brain doing that. That's not cannabis related at all. It's sensory enhancement. So one of my big things when I help people with this is that, let's use the sensory enhancement that we get from THC to help you eat healthier food. You can have flavor explosions all the time, and it can be fantastic when you're high because of the sensory enhancement that you get. That's the Munchies. The Munchies are sensory. The Munchies are, ooh, I want spicy. Ooh, I want sweet. Ooh, I want, specific flavors and temperatures and textures, and all of that stuff doesn't mean it needs to be junk food. So again, like, I was kind of horrified at this, slightly amused, slightly horrified at this article in the paper, because people don't need to be eating KFC just because they're high. Like, you could make you could go to a restaurant and get an amazing piece of grilled or baked chicken with really amazing flavors in it, right? And that could be really fun too. That would also be Munchies because it would be sensory enhancement. It would just be a healthier choice. I like to make like fruit salad. I'm a big fruit person just because I'm a sweets person. So I'll make like giant fruit salads and just have like all these different flavors in it, because that's what's fun for me, is the different sensory enhancement in my mouth, basically. The reason that we all tend to go to the junk food, especially when you're high, is because the people that make the junk food, the KFCs and the Taco Bells and the White Castles and all of those things, they know the secret that foods with lots of sugar, lots of salt, and lots of fat are more palatable for people. They literally study, I think it's called food science, places like Cornell. Cornell's a good example. I'm in New York, so it just came off the top of my head. So Cornell has I think it's called food science, where they have a school, a lab, where they study ways to make food taste better, ways to make food more appealing so that we buy more food. That's what they want us to do. When there was a chip that was, their slogan was, you can't just eat just one, right? It was probably Lay's or something. You can't eat just one. Okay, well, that's like not a joke. Like, they really want you to not eat just one. Like, they really want you to eat the whole bag, because then you go and you buy another bag. So that kind of makes me angry. I don't know if that makes you angry at all, but it makes me angry because they're hurting us. They're making junk food so appealing. So of course, when you're high and you think what's appealing, of course you think junk food, because the junk food people know that their food is really appealing. They've used a whole bunch of sugar, a whole bunch of salt, or a whole bunch of fat to make their food super duper appealing. So of course you want it. It's just knowing that, and then training your brain and your mouth to get excited about food with flavor in it, right? I mean, yeah. So that's what I work with people on. It's just changing that, and it's really just habit change, which is all I've been doing for the last 20 years, is helping people with better habits, getting back into their workout routines, working with modifying their diet in whatever way, overcoming overeating, stress eating, emotional eating, working on all these things. This is what we do, this is what we do. So I don't see a lot of questions. Does anybody have any questions? If not, then I will wrap this up, because it's about 20 minutes. That's enough for a live, right? Well, all right. Well, I am going to sign off, and if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching. And I will see everybody next time. Thanks for joining.